Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone doing? Man, I can't believe Josh just dropped 9 on you guys. And how many days, Josh? 2 days?
This week.
This week?
5 days.
9. How old are you, Josh?
30.
30 years old. Oh, you getting up there, Josh. Up there, man. You're 30. I thought you were like in your 20s. That's good. That's awesome. I mean, I remember when he just first got started. So I don't see any reason. What's your goal this year? What are you gonna make this year?
This year I want to hit my watch, and I want to just build a huge team.
What are you gonna make?
As far as cash flow,
yeah.
I haven't even crunched all the exact numbers, but I want to be at least 50,000, 100,000.
Are you serious? That's minimum wage in WFG. You realize that, right? 100,000 is not what 100,000 used to be. You should make 100. If you run at that pace, you should make no less than $250,000. If you make anything less than $250,000, shame on you. Okay, so you need to switch who you're talking to.
All right.
I don't like that 50,000 in 1 year.
Oh, the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year.
I want a minimum 100,000.
Yeah, you should be way more than that. Okay, way more than that. Okay, you can't tell him he needs to be making way more if you're not doing way more. Does that make sense? Yeah. There you go. Right? Lead from the front, right? Cool. How you guys doing? You guys doing well? You excited? Yeah. Okay, listen, I'm going to go over some stuff tonight. And a couple of things before I get started. If you understand, Steve, if you understand 10% of what I covered tonight, you understand way more than the first time I saw it. You follow me on that? If you just get like 10% of the stuff that I covered, okay? I want to keep a couple of things in mind. I've done it a gazillion and one times, right? How do you become really good at something? You first must be what? Bad. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times we don't want to start because we think, well, I'm not good enough yet, right? You got to be bad first, right? And for you to go from bad to good, how do you go from bad to good? Reps. You got to do more appointments. And how do you go from good to outstanding? More reps. Does that make sense? Yes. So here's the word that I want you to write down. Whether you think you're ready or not, you must take action. What you see tonight, I want you to write down 3 names of 3 people that you're going to set up an appointment with, and you're going to go see, and you're going to do it. You're going to take action on it. I'm going to simplify it down. So instead of doing theory and concept and bringing someone on the team, I thought I'd give you some realism, right? So I grabbed someone straight out of the BPM. He has no idea what this is. Talk to him in Mozone. And I said, well, come on over, and we're going to do a one-on-one. So what's your name again? Kevin, right? So Kevin, you don't need to be nervous because I'm going to be doing all the talking. All right, so I'm going to be nervous. Make sense? Look, you're turning red already, Kevin. Okay, come on up, Kevin. Give Kevin a round of applause. Get another chair for Kevin. All right, Kevin. So, Kevin, who invited you tonight? Kat. Okay, and how do you know Kat?
Younger since I was a teenager.
Since you were a teenager?
13 years old. Still young now, but.
Okay, how old are you now?
27.
27. Okay, cool. So what do you do?
I was a recruitment specialist at a Cypress facility.
So you're a recruiter? Oh, wow. Okay.
Into new medication before it goes out into the FDA approved and before it hits the county to see what side effects there are and what happens. If it passes and it goes good, then it goes onto the counter like Tylenol, Advil. If it doesn't and there's bad side effects, then they go and we do the studies over and see what how to fix it.
Oh, wow. Okay. How long have you done that?
For about 6 months now.
6 months? What'd you do before?
Before I was working, majority of the car industry.
Oh, you were. What did you do in the car industry?
In the service area for Mercedes, and then after that became manager at Honda, just painting cars, running that type of thing.
So how did you go from that?
It's a jump.
this.
I've just been trying different things actually.
Really?
Yeah, from automobile, then went over to recruitment specialist in the medical field, which I had no idea what I'm getting into. At first, I kind of questioned it, doubted it, because I didn't think I would be able to take it in and learn it, but I actually did. And
Really?
it's a whole different field.
So what made you go from one field to another?
It's just taking the risk and just being open to it. Actually, honestly, I didn't know it was the right decision or not. It's just I want to try it out. Maybe it's something I can do. And I went into it.
Okay.
I was able to adjust to it.
What do you like about it?
Well, I'm always like I'm social, being able to talk to customer service and helping out. But at times you be too nice and then they take advantage and you just like I want to help out no more.
Oh, is that right?
Like they're calling you like a friend and they're like, give me the best studies out there. You know what it is. Like, but what I like about it is just being social with people. I always like
You like helping people.
Yeah, helping people.
Okay. What do you dislike?
When they keep calling and they don't understand what you're trying to explain at times. Like sometimes they like say the recruitment, there's nothing for them at the time. They'll call again and speak to another recruiter. Even though they're not qualified for it, they'll try to go around it. It's just like then now they're not being able to be on the same page as you. So then they just
Okay.
But overall, not too much disliking me.
Okay.
So I like those people.
All right. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was in the military. Spent 13 years with the Marines. I was a firefighter in the Marine Corps. Did 5 years of special duty. In 1996, I was stationed at El Toro, and I was a firefighter there. And I got introduced to this business part time, June of 1998. And I got started part time. I was 33 years old, and my goal was to make an extra $2,000 a month part time. So I did it part time from June 1998 to March of 1999. And in March of 1999, I turned my annual income into a monthly one. And then I walked away from the military, and I've been here for the last 13 years. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go over 3 things with you. Okay? I'm going to go over who we are as a company, specifically what we do, and the opportunity that's available. Have you ever heard of World Financial Group, Aegon Transamerican?
I've heard that 12 hours ago.
Yeah. Okay, 12 hours ago from the person who invited you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Now I know. Just want to know what else I'm doing.
Okay, well, let me go over our company. Okay, so World Financial Group is a multi-trillion-dollar industry and is backed by a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay, so we have a powerful business platform. Okay, when you look at our platform, there's 4 areas of our platform. We have World Financial Group, which is the marketing company, which we have a system. It's like if you bought a McDonald's has a franchise format system. We have what we call a business format system. We have a system that brings the community to us. Our parent company is a company by the name of Aegon. You heard them talk about Aegon. Aegon's a $543 billion company trading on 6 different exchanges. So they own World Financial Group. They also own Transamerican Financial Advisors. So our broker-dealer is Transamerican Financial Advisors. So if you see here, we have licensing agreements with some of the biggest companies you might have heard before, from Transamerica, Western Reserve, the Nationwide, ING, Prudential, Pacific Life, Jackson National Life, John Hancock, College. We have access to all those companies and all their products. So for example, take a look at Nationwide. Have you ever heard of Nationwide? You see their commercials? Okay. Nationwide just in 2013, right? If you had to take a guess on how much money they spent last year just on advertising, what would you think that would be?
By the millions.
Okay. They spent $1 billion last year just on advertising. Okay. So would you say that's a credible company? And their brand is very special to them?
Yeah, if they're willing to spend that much, it must be good.
There you go. So Nationwide has partnered with our firm because they want us to be able to help the middle So we're a very, very powerful company. If you take a look at here, it says Wolf Financial Group, Transamerica. The Transamerica companies offer a wide array of life and health projection solutions with a common purpose: to protect families and their dreams. Okay, so our mission statement as a company is to help people around the world achieve financial independence with a cause of no family left behind. Let me ask you a question. Would you have any challenges doing any type of business with a company of this magnitude? For example, when I was in the military and I was thinking about leaving the military to come do the business full time, one of the things that was really, really important to me is that I wanted to make sure that the company that I was going to be in business with was the most important, a solid company. Okay? Because you ever heard of companies that just they go out of business, right? Because there's not enough capital. So one of the things that was important to me, I wasn't going to leave a 13-year military career to start a business and then that business go out of business. Okay? So Aegon being a $543 billion company, what that means is that they're a very solid company. So there's a rule in business. The number one rule in business is to stay in business. So which is what I asked you, a company of that magnitude, would you have any challenges having an affiliation with a company of that magnitude? Hmm? No, I'm saying if we decided, you decided, and I decided that we were going to go into business together, would you feel comfortable being part of a company of that magnitude? Okay. All right, perfect. Let me share a little bit about what we do. Okay. What we do is we're in the financial service industry. Financial service industry is the number one industry for you to be in. Okay. What we provide families with a financial needs analysis. The financial needs analysis covers 6 different areas. Okay, remember I said the mission of our company is to help people around the world achieve financial independence, right? With a crusade of no family left behind. So whether we sit down with a family that makes $30,000 a year or a family that makes $100,000 a year, we provide this financial needs analysis comprehensive. There are 6 areas of needs here. The first area is cash flow. Where some families, like for me in 1998, although I had a job in the military, I got paid the first and the 15th. I had my dental, I had health, the military provided me with housing. My challenge is I wanted to make additional income because I wanted to be in a position where I can send my mom extra money every month. So my need was I needed to earn additional income. So I was working part-time while I was in the military. I was doing construction. So I was working 10-hour days, making $10 an hour. So when someone sat down with me here and they showed me where I could make an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month, I started the business part-time. Okay, so that's one area we help families. The second area is debt management. A lot of families that are in debt, they want to have a plan where they can consolidate their debt and strive to eliminate their debt, and we can put a plan together for them to show them how to get out of debt. The third area is emergency fund, where we teach families you should have 3 to 6 months of your income saved. So for example, what do you make a month?
A month,
4,000. So for example, if you look at, okay, you make $4,000 a month, you should have an emergency account where you have at least 3 to 6 months of your income saved. So in the event, let's say you walk into work tomorrow and they tell you, you know what, you don't have a job anymore. You follow me? So you have that emergency money saved, so that way for 6 months you can still pay your expenses and things of that nature till you find another job. So we help families that. The fourth area is proper protection, where we protect against a loss of income, protect family assets. You have a family, you have kids. Okay. But at one point, you probably will have a family, you'll have a kid. So here we talk about life insurance. The purpose of life insurance for long-term planning to protect your family. There's all different types of life insurance. You have term, universal, whole, variable, equity. We don't represent any individual company, so we can educate families on exactly how their insurance works. So So, like for example, for me, while I was in the Marine Corps, I had $200,000 of coverage. Okay, it was a service group life insurance, and that just covered me while I was in the military. But what I didn't know is that once I left the military, I no longer had that policy. So it wasn't until someone sat down with me and educated me, and I thought 200,000 was actually a lot. But the problem is, I didn't understand the purpose of life insurance. The purpose of life insurance is to replace your income. For example, do you have a car?
Yes.
Okay. You have car insurance? Okay. So if I buy a car, and let's say the car costs $50,000, right? And I get a policy, I get a property and casualty, I get some car insurance to cover the debt of the car. So if someone steals my car, or I total my car, right? The insurance pays the bank on the loan that I own, right? A lot of times with families, no one has ever explained to them the purpose of life insurance. So their cars are insured, their homes are insured, but the most important thing, which is them, they're not insured. So we find a lot of that in the marketplace. The next area is asset accumulation, where we show people how to outpace inflation and minimize taxation. And the last area is estate preservation, where we help you reduce estate taxes and build a family legacy. The beauty with this financial needs analysis is that we do this complimentary for free. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about everyone you know, right? Think about everyone you know. Like if you were getting married tomorrow, right? How many people you think would be at your wedding?
300 people.
300 people, right? 300 people. You smile when you say that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine everyone you know, if you were able to provide them something that they looked at you and they said, "I'm so glad you showed me this, because before I met with you, no one has ever shown me this before." Right? So for me, for example, in 1998, I was 33 years old, right? So I was making $45,000 a year in the Marine Corps. And it wasn't until someone sat down with me and showed me this. And I remember the first feeling that I got was I could not believe that I was 33 years old and no one has ever shared this information with me. I went to college, I went to high school, I've been around a lot of people. So it was information that changed my life. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Have you ever heard of the Rule 72? Okay. You know what the challenge that I have with this is that you know a guy by the name of Albert Einstein. He's a pretty old guy, right? Albert Einstein called the Rule 72 the eighth wonder of the world to show the power of compound interest. And here I was 33 years old. The bankers call it the banker's rule. The accounts call it the account's rule. And here I am, I'm 33 years old, and I've never seen the Rule 72. And mathematically, it's impossible for you to achieve financial independence if you don't know the rules, right? So here's what the Rule 72 says. The Rule 72 says, let's say, how old are you? 27, okay? Let's say you're 29 years old, okay, and you have $10,000, and you walk into my bank, and I say to you, I says, look, I'm going to give you a 4% rate of return, okay? What you want to know is, what exactly does that mean? You follow me? So next time who do you bank with? Okay, just for the kicks. The guy that was up here, Josh, he used to work for Wells Fargo. Just for kicks, next time you go to the bank, I want you to pay attention to the interest rate that they're giving you in your savings account, money market account, and checking account. Because now you know the Rule 72, okay? What the Rule 72 says, if you divide 4 into 72, it gives you 18. What that means is that it takes your money 18 years for it to compound. So if you put $10,000 in my bank and I'm giving you a 4% rate of return, that $10,000 compounds to $20,047. 47 to 65, 18 years later, that 20,000 compounds to 40,000. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to put your money at the bank, or do you want to put your money where the bank puts their money? Right. Okay. Banks and insurance companies are investors. We are consumers. You follow me? So the bank's constantly thinking, how do we make more money? So the less you know, if I'm a bank, the less you know, the better it is for me. You follow me? I just want you to pay attention when you go to the bank. And they won't even give you close to 4%. Follow me on that? You probably get 0.005. Right? So now you know what that means. Now, what about if I position myself where I'm getting a 12% rate of return? Okay? If I'm getting a 12% rate of return, my money, you divide 72 into 12, my money now compounds every 6 years. You follow me? So the same $10,000 at 29, at 35, 20, 40, 80, 160, 320, 640. So if I'm a bank and I'm getting a 12% rate of return, right? Here's the return. At 65, you get 40,000. At 65, I get 600,000. You follow me? You follow me on that? So if I never, ever, ever see you again, my gift to you tonight is what you learn. The one thing you can never say is no one ever told me this. You now know what the rule 72 is, right? Then the other thing, so when I learned this, it totally changed my life. I was just like, I was so bothered inside because when I went to boot camp, as a recruit, I remember my drill sergeant said to me, take your money, put it in a government bond, and when you retire, you'll get bond. That's the worst financial advice I could have ever gotten, right? But that's the advice that they gave me. Then the next thing I want to show you is a simple concept. There's a book called trying to remember the name of the book. It's in several books. You have The Millionaire Mind. You have it's the book. Yeah, The Richest Man in Babylon. Okay, you just got that book. You just got it last month. There you go. That's why you're here. You're reading it. You'll know what I mean one day. One of the fundamental rules that it says in that book is that if you plan to become financially independent or you plan to become rich, you must learn one principle. And that principle is pay yourself first. You follow me? That means that, okay, how many hours a week do you work? 40 hours a week? 40 hours a week, so you work 160 hours a month, correct? And you bring home $4,000 after taxes, okay? So when you get your check, what's the first bill that you pay? What's the first thing that you do?
The rent.
You pay your rent.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Credit cards.
Okay.
Insurance. Everything. Food. And then,
Hang out with your friends.
yeah.
Okay.
That's extra money they pay. Take care responsibility for that. Like transportation, car, think the need for food, bills, cell phone bills, insurance, things like that. Yeah, and then it was on the side and see how much I keep saving.
Okay. So what pay yourself first means is exactly what it means. Pay yourself first. So what I want you to do is what you just told me is that as soon as you get your check, the first thing that you do, right, is you pay off all your liabilities. Mortgage, your rent, all this stuff, right? So I want you that as soon as you get your check, your $4,000, create a habit that 10% of that from the top, not from the bottom, from the top, goes to your savings. So if you make $4,000, automatically $400, you act like you didn't even get it. You follow me?
I was just gonna say that before you had to take
Right.
put it aside before you.
There you go. There you go. So that's one of the concepts that we teach families. It's very simple. It's not a very complicated concept. It's very simple. But what I found is the most powerful things in life are the simplest things in life. The problem is we just don't do it. You follow me? So we teach families that concept. And also one of the things that we teach them too is the high cost of waiting. Okay, so right now you have the benefit of being young. Okay, it's a double-edged sword because when you're young, you go, I'm young, I got a whole bunch of time. All right. So what ends up happening, you're 25. With you're just getting started, will save more when we're making more. So some people go, you know what, I'm not making enough money right now. When I start making more money, then I'll start saving some money. The problem is procrastination is the worst nation to live in, right? So next thing you know, you're 40, right? You've got a home, you got a house payments, car payments, and the kids, you got a family, wife, you don't have anything left to save. The next thing you know, you're 50. As soon as the kids are out of school, we'll be able to save for retirement, right? So what are we doing? We're pushing it back, right? 60 comes up, our expenses are so high, and the amount we need to save is just too much. We can't afford it. Because what happens is that the longer you wait, the more it takes. You follow me? So if I started when I was 27, I could start saving $300-400 a month because I have time. So if I wait from 27 to 35, then I just lost those 8 years. So I got to be able to save more money. So we teach family that the best age to start saving is now. And one of the things I want to share with you, I want you to think about this, right? So you're at your wedding. Everyone you know is at that wedding. The people that you care about the most are at that wedding, right? Family, friends, all of those things. What about if you were able to put yourself in a position where you could do something for people that doesn't just make a difference, but it fixes an indifference? And here's what I mean by that. Although the financial service industry is a very powerful industry, it's a very biased industry. And what I mean by that is your biggest financial firms, they're targeting to help the top 2% of the population. It means that if you got a couple of million, you make $1 million a year, all these big financial firms are there to help you. Okay? But who's actually there to help the 80% of the population? Guys like yourself, guys like me when I got started, our family and friends. The Census Bureau did a report. They said 73.8% of Americans retire in poverty, with less than $10,000 a year to live on, less than $833 a month. You follow me? So there's a crusade. How would that make you feel if you were able to make a difference for all the people that you care about? That would be great. Exactly. That's exactly how I felt. Because once I learned this information, what happened inside of me was, because I didn't really buy into the money, because I'm the type of person that once I get into something, I have to love it. Once I love it, forget it. I'm going to be the most competitive because I love what I do. You ever heard that? Find something that you love, and once you love, you'll never work another day. Yes. That was exactly me. Because it made a difference for me. I understood it. And then once I understood, I said, oh my God, everybody I know needs to see this. All right? Let me ask you a question. If I could show you a way where you can make an additional $2,000 to $3,000 a month part-time, would that intrigue you?
Yes.
Okay. And let me show you how to do that. Okay, so this is an example here. Okay, this is an example here of an associate. Okay, like the guy that we just recognized, Josh, he helped 9 families this week. Okay, that's not an average. I'm just going to show you an average associate that's helping 4 families a month. Okay, the average family is a 40-year-old, and they're saving $185 a month in one of our flagship products called the Equity Index Universal Life. You'll learn about that. Okay. If you put yourself in a position where you're helping 4 families a month, just 4, the average family you spend 2 hours with, okay, will pay you $4,000 a month, will pay you $47,000 a year of 1099 income. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Everybody have a pen and paper? When I first saw this, let me tell you how excited I got. Okay, remember, I'm making $3,300 a year. I mean, $3,300 a month is a dream, right? So as a firefighter, I'm working 24 on, 24 off, 48 on, 48 off. On my days off, I'm working 10-hour days. I walk away with $100. fired up, right? And then so I saw this, and I remember my mentor said to me, he says, Dan, do you know what earning power is? I had no idea what earning power is. Do you know what earning power is? I had no idea what earning power is. So right now, you're working 40 hours a week times 4 weeks. That's 160 hours a month. Okay? What do you bring home gross monthly? 5? Okay. So 160 hours, right? Divided by 5,000. Okay. What is that?
31.25.
That's 31.25. So you're doing better than most. So you make about $31 an hour. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, that's decent. Minimum wage is what? $8.50. So for a 27-year-old, you're making $31 an hour. That's way more than I ever made an hour. Okay. But here's the challenge. The challenge is that you have a job and you're W-2. Okay. So you're paying taxes on your money, right? So you're working 160 hours and you're bringing home 4,000. So you're actually making what? So you're actually bringing home $25 an hour after taxes. Okay. Now, if all you were able to do, okay, on a part-time basis, you're working with a credible company, you're doing something great for families, where they're so excited that you were able to help them. It's a win-win situation, right? Matter of fact, they're so excited about what you did for them, they want to tell everyone they know what you did for them. Imagine all these people call, hey, I heard you sat down with so-and-so, can you come sit down with me and my family and things of that nature. Now you put yourself in a position where you're helping 4 families a month. The average time we spend with a family is 2 hours, which is 8 hours worth of work. See that? So 8 hours worth of work, now you're making $4,000 for 8 hours worth of work. That's a month. So now you made $500 an hour.
Love that. Like that idea.
You like that idea? Right? That's called earning power. You follow me on that? If I could show you how to do that on a part-time basis. Yeah. Keep your job. So like for me, I stayed in the military. I was in the Marine Corps. I was doing this part-time. Then for me, it got to a position where I started making more money on a monthly basis here. What I was making annually in the Marine Corps, I was making monthly here. So imagine my mindset, right? And then that's when I walked away. Now, not everyone has that story. That's my story. Not everyone has that story. And then I walked away and I came full-time. But if I was able to show you how to make an extra $4,000 a month, what would that mean to you?
It would only mean I want to know more of what I did full-time instead of part-time.
Okay, yeah. But what would that provide for you? An extra $4,000. Let's say, boom, you're making an extra $4,000 a month. What would your life be like?
Less stress.
Less stress.
It would be less stress, and with that much hours cut down, I would have more time in myself.
Good. That's exactly what I thought. Okay.
The personal things down to continue to enjoy life.
Okay. Can you think so if I can show you how to make an extra $4,000 a month part-time, is there any logical reason why you wouldn't get started with this now? Okay. Do you have anything in your background that might stop you? Because we have a licensing process. Do you have anything in your background like a felony or anything like that? No? Okay, cool. Okay, well welcome to the team. You're on the #1 team in the company. Okay? All that through a little bit. Okay, thank you. You grab a seat. You go through BPM now. Show them the BPM, Justin. Okay? You're not in yet. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, let's talk that through real quick. Right? Whew, it's hard doing that in front of you guys. I was nervous, man. Especially my wife, man. See, when we get in the car, she's going to be critiquing everything. I don't think I was thinking about any of you. I was just thinking about her. She took a lot of notes. Yeah, she took a lot of notes. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about, hopefully you have some questions. Okay? You haven't been here long enough to ask questions. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right, you said,
Stand up.
I'm Joshua. I haven't been here long enough to ask a question.
Yeah.
Here I am. When we switched around and we told them about the income that you'd be making an hour, it was $500 an hour. Was that before taxes or after taxes?
We're 1099.
Oh, so 1099 is you take the 10% off the top.
See what I mean? You're not here long enough. See your trainer. We're 1099. So we're 1099. We're not employees. So we're 1099. When we make $4 grand, we actually make $4 grand. Not like when you had a job. Okay, grab a seat. Okay, so first let's talk about what's the first thing that I did?
Who we are.
What's that?
Who we are.
Do what? Build rapport. People do business with who they like and they trust. What's the most important thing you're going to do, Tom, when you meet with someone? You build rapport, and build rapport, you have to connect. Does that make sense? So I have to take myself back, right? I have to take myself back to where he's at. I can't be talking to him from, I'm senior vice chairman, making $100,000 a month and all of that stuff. That's way out there. Does that make sense? So I got to bring myself back to where he's at. And how do you do that?
Relate with them.
What's that?
Relate with them.
Tell your story. Does that make sense? Tell your story. If you don't have a story, why did I put all the pictures of all the leaders in here? You borrow a story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for a long time, what I used these books for, right? I would circle individual stories, right? And I would tell someone's story. So you might say, well, Dan, I don't have like a big story. Well, borrow a story till you get a story. Does that make sense? So you got to connect with them, right? You got to build rapport. How long did it take me to build rapport with them? What is it? Less than 5 minutes. Okay? Now, what about sometimes you'll sit down with someone that just talks a lot? You ever sit down with someone that just talks a lot? Okay? Okay, so if you're sitting down with someone that, because you should have a time frame of how long did it take me from beginning to end? 35 minutes from beginning to end, right? So sometimes if you sit down with someone, so in my mind, a one-on-one takes no more than 20 to 25 minutes. Anything longer than that, someone's talking way too much. You're giving way too much information. Does that make sense? So if you're taking you should be able to sit in a Starbucks within 25 to 30 minutes, do a one-on-one presentation. Follow me on that? So we build rapport one. So what was the next thing that you noticed that I did? What's that?
We are.
Speak up. You gotta speak up.
Who we are.
You told him what you were doing.
Well, you asked him first if he was open to an opportunity.
No, I don't think
Yeah, you heard about it.
Who we are, what we do, and the opportunity.
Who we are.
Ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
What's the first thing that I did?
What did you do before?
Told your story.
No, that's all part of building rapport.
Who we are.
Stop for a second. Have you heard of World Financial School? Right? Why do I ask that question?
So you know whether they have any information on it, whether they have good thoughts or bad thoughts.
Preconceived ideas, right? Preconceived ideas. Because if he said, I heard of World Financial Group, right? What have you heard? I heard it was an awesome company. Or I heard it was a bad company. Right? So before I go on to my presentation, I have to address that. Does that make sense? Yes. So I either have to reframe, deframe, and reframe his thinking about our firm. Because if I don't ask that question, I just go into it. I'm talking, but he already has his mind made up. You guys follow me? So I want to bring that out. As fast as I can, right? So once I did that, then what was the next thing you noticed? Huh? That was part of building rapport, right? I framed the conversation. Okay, remember framing, right? Remember I talked about framing and deframing, right? I framed the conversation. How did I frame it? I told him what he was going to see. Just three things. Who we are as a company, what we do specifically, and the opportunity. Very simple. These are three things that we're going to talk about. Right? Then we talk about what we do. We talk about who we are. Aegon Transamerica World Financial Group, the mission statement, blah, blah, blah. Then after I showed him that, right, what was the question that I asked him?
Do you have any challenges working with the company, being affiliated with the company that night?
Right? And then when I said that to him, right, he didn't understand what I said, right? Notice that like I paused, right? The one who speaks first, right? And then he didn't understand it. So I had to ask him again. I had to ask him another way. And the third time I showed him, he was like, oh, okay. Right? So a lot of times, what ends up happening, you might ask someone a question and they don't really understand it, and you start talking and you don't get a commitment. Right? I didn't move to 2 till I got a commitment for 8. Why?
Save some time.
What do you mean by save some time?
Small closes.
Small closes.
He
just told you he'd do business with you.
What's that?
He just told you he'd do business with you.
Okay. What else?
You want to address any challenges you might have up front.
You want to address any challenges you might have up front? Okay. What about if I go through the whole presentation, never ask any questions at the end? He says, well, I don't know enough about your company. You follow me? Can he give me that objection once he answered, I don't have a problem doing a business with a company with that magnitude? You follow me? So that's solved. The credibility is solved. Right? So if he had any objections with the company, I close that first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guys get that or no?
Yes.
Okay. And then also I related to my personal story. That's something that was very important to me. Because I was looking at, I'm getting ready to walk away from a 13-year military career to go do this full time. I want to make sure that the company that I'm with is a solid, credible company. It's going to be around long term. What if I get out the Marine Corps and I go into this company and next thing you know the company goes down under and I'm left out in the cold? That's a concern for me. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's a concern for people too. They don't want to be part of a fly-by-night, get-rich-quick deal. 3 guys got together in a corner, started a company, and now you're trying to recruit me? You follow me? Yeah. Okay, so what was that? Okay, so we got done with that. We got a commitment from that. And let's talk about what we do. What did you pick up on what we do?
Like you said,
We help the middle class.
I talked about what? Was I talking to his head or talking to his heart?
heart.
What's the number one thing people fear?
Running out of money, we're getting old.
What people are going to think about me,
Stay in this.
and rejection. It's the number one thing. That's why we're afraid to prospect. That's why we're afraid of making phone calls. That's why we're afraid of going across the kitchen table. Right? We're afraid of rejection. People are going to say no. Right? So what did I get him to visualize? Once I showed it to him, remember I asked him, if you were going to get married, how many people would be at your wedding? 300, right? So once I got to his heart, I said, how would you feel if you were able to provide value for people where they were so grateful that you made a difference in their lives? Right? I got him to feel those emotions that he did something good. Right? Imagine this for a second. What time is it? What time is it?
8:30.
Okay, it's 8:30. Okay, so let's say at your apartment complex or your home, wherever you live at 10 p.m., poison water is going to be running through your system wherever you live at. So if you live in an apartment complex at 10 p.m., those 9, 10, 15, 20 apartments, there's going to be poison water that's going to run through it. Right? And it's 8:30 and you got the tip. Let me ask you a question. Would you think about, well, I know there's poison water that's going to be running through. It's 10 o'clock. It's going to be 10 o'clock. People are going to be sleeping. I don't want to disturb people. Would you think about that?
No.
Or would you bang on every single door? What about if you bang on the door? I go, hey, get away. It's 9 o'clock. No. Would you keep banging on the door? Say, hey, I got something to tell you. It's very important. Why? Because you're on a crusade. When you're on a crusade, you're not thinking with this. You're thinking with this. So when I'm talking about what we do for families across the kitchen table, I'm talking about the crusade of what we do, what makes us different. And I could do that with just a couple of things. With the financial needs analysis, the Rule 72, how you explain it, how many, the high cost of waiting. You see I did that? So then he said, I would feel great if I was able to provide that value for the people that I know and I love and I trust. I trust me. You follow me? Because his biggest fear is, oh my God, I don't want to go talk to my mom and dad. When people say, well, I don't want to talk to the people that I know. You know why they say that? Because they don't see value. They don't think it's going to make a difference for them. They're more worried about what those people think about them versus the changes that they're going to make for those people in their lives. So I want to get that emotion out. And he goes, man, this is something great that I can do for people, make a difference for them, right? And I can feel good about doing that. You follow me on that? That's the psychology of that, okay? What's the third thing we talk about?
The opportunity.
The opportunity, right? The opportunity. What did you notice when we talked about the opportunity? When we started talking about the income? Huh? Did you see I didn't blink when I asked him how much money he makes? I remember people saying to me, I remember in the beginning, when people asked me how much money you make, man, that's a personal question. Why would you ask me that? That's a personal question. That's only a personal question when you don't make any money. Just so you know. People that make money, that's not a personal question. Just so you know. So if you're uncomfortable asking someone what they make, you shouldn't be. I have no problem. I always ask people, what do you make? I was talking to a guy the other day. He's in the financial service industry. He's with one of the big firms down in Beverly Hills. He's got every degree in the book. He's got every license in the book. His card has CFP, PHP, FFP, BS, blah, all this stuff. Right? There's all this stuff on there. And I asked him, I says, let me ask you a question, man. So you strike me as a really, really sharp guy, and you're really good at what you do. What do you make? He looked at me for a pause for a second. I said, what do you make? What do you make a year? He says, $80,000. I said, wow, $80,000. You have all those licenses, big company, and you make $80,000 a year. I said, are you serious? Because he was kind of looking down a little bit on our company. He thought it was a little bit better. I said, if I make less than that in a month, my wife is pissed. Right, babe? Right? My wife is pissed. I make less than that in a month. Right? So I asked him what he makes. Not now, listen, the tone of your voice is very important. You don't speak down to people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. People want you to be direct, but they want you to be courteous. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the same person, two people can say the same thing, and one perceives it one way and another perceives it another way. You follow me? So you're not coming from a space of contradicting, right? Usually when you're contradicting, it's because you don't feel good about yourself. If I don't feel good when I'm around you, I'm not going to join you. If you make me feel bad, right? If you make me feel bad, you're talking down to me, right? There's two types of speakers. There's one speaker that speaks. You go, that makes sense. It's quite interesting. You need to think about it. You know what happened? You didn't connect with me. That's a nice way of me trying to get out of your way. There's another speaker that speaks and you go, wow, that's exactly how I feel. I feel the exact same way. It's part of recruiting. Right? I used to make $3,000 a month, just like him. 1999, I was making $3,000 a month. Someone sat down with me and showed me these exact principles. Right? I didn't know what earning power was. I had no idea what it was. So now, once I said, okay, you make $4,000 a month, you work 160 hours a week, that pays you $35 an hour before taxes. After taxes, it pays you $25 an hour. Then I said, you know what? That's pretty good for a 27-year-old. It actually is. Right? 27 years old, you're making $27 an hour. Right? That's actually pretty good. Right? I said, but let me show you something. What about if you were able to work with a solid company, you were able to do great things for families, they were excited about it, and you help 4 families a month, the average family you spend 2 hours with, that's 8 hours worth of work. We would pay you $500 an hour. How would that make you feel if you made an extra $4,000 a month? What's the first thing he said? It would relieve my stress. It would relieve my stress. You follow me on that? Then I asked him a closing question. If I can show you how to make an extra $4,000 a month, part-time, is there any logical reason why you would not get started with us right now? What else is he going to say? Now, if he says no, let me tell you what that means. He doesn't believe that he can do it. Right? If he tells me no, he doesn't believe that he can do it. Then, the reason I have this book in front of me, I open this book. If he doesn't believe he can do it, I show him all the people that have like backgrounds like him or at his age that are doing it. You follow me? You follow me on that? Just like a lot of people, when they meet a Marine, they go, oh my God, you got to meet Dan Charlier. Why do they do that? Because they can identify with me. It's just like you, Tom. Tom, you were in real estate for how long? You were in real estate for 6 years, right? And you just walked away from your real estate business to come full time, right? So you can identify with people that are in the real estate business, right? Because you just walked away from your real estate, now you're full-time here. So if I have someone that's in real estate, who do I want them to talk to? Tom. Why? Because he can identify with them. You have someone that's in the military here, boom, they talk to me. Within seconds, I can build rapport because I know exactly the language. You follow me? So you can borrow a story. If I'm going to meet with a CPA, boom, I show them CPA, right? If that becomes an issue, right? Now, did I go into, you can make 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. Did I go into all of that? No, I just show him where he can. Listen, you guys. Me personally, okay? Me personally. When Marlette said to me, said, look, I can show you how to make an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month. I'm making $3,500 a month. He didn't need to talk to me about making 100, 200, 300, 400, right? And I told you guys this before. One of the pastors I know, Bishop Noel Jones, I was talking to him one day, right? Because his brother is in our business. His brother's an SMD in our business, right? I was talking to him after Easter service a couple of years ago. It's me, Holyfield, a couple of guys were in the back, and I'm talking to him. And I asked Bishop Noel Jones, I said, Bishop, I says, how did you grow your congregations to thousands of people coming out every week? You know what he said to me? He says, I taught my guys one thing. Just get them to church. We'll baptize them later. Don't try to baptize them. Just get them to church. You follow me? So part of the recruiting, I just got to meet him where he's at. If he's making $4,000 a month, I'm not talking to him about making 20, 30. Because one, he doesn't. Now I'm way over his head. If Marlette would have started talking to me about making 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I don't even have the capacity to think that I can make that type of money. You follow me? Don't sell past the close. Now, if I'm talking to someone that's making $20,000 a month, I'm going to talk to him about making 20, 25. Because he has the capacity, he or she has the capacity to see that. I'm sitting down with someone that makes $1 million a year. I'm going to talk to him about making $1 million, $2 million. I'm not going to talk to him about making $2,000, $3,000 a month. You follow me? So you have to connect with the person that you're with. Meet them where they're at. And then, once we get them in, they get part of the environment. The environment will stretch their thinking. The environment will stretch their vision of what's capable of happening. You guys follow me on that? And that's the one-on-one. Is that simple? You guys like?
Yeah.
I knew I was doing a low energy meeting tonight. I was just like, geez, Matt?
Dan, how do you alter the conversation like you just mentioned if they are making the $20,000 a month, but you're not making $20,000 a month?
What was that now?
How do you alter the conversation to relate with them if you're not making the $20,000 a month, but they are?
Good. So let's say I'm sitting down with a guy, right? And I'm not making $20,000 a month, which most of you are not, right? And now you want to talk to him about he can make that type of income, right? Borrow a story from someone else, right? So we got tons of people making $20,000 plus a month here. So you tell them Steve Haig's story, you can tell Louise's story, you can tell Francis Holt's story, you can tell Paul Ireton's story. I mean, local leaders, Tita Lazan's story, all these different stories that you have of people that have done it. You tell their stories. That's why you get good at learning people's stories. So a lot of times what would happen is that when I get around leaders, like if I get a chance to be around Steve Haig, right? Man, Steve, tell me your story. How did you get started? I get around to be Louise. Tell me your story. How did you get started? I get a chance to be around Allison Copeton. Allison, tell me your story. How did you get started? What was the transition for you in all of this stuff? You follow me on that? And then now you have all these stories in your mind. Right? Now let me show you this person right here. When they first got started, they were in physical fitness, blah, blah, blah. They started part-time with us, boom. Now they have their own office. They're making $25,000 a month, all of this stuff. Okay? And then the beauty is you have local leaders that are in your offices, right, that you have access to. Right? The guy's making $1 million. So if you got someone that's making If you got someone that's making $1 million a year, right? Get them in front of me. You follow me on? You follow me on that?
I gotta ask this question. What if the person doesn't want to tell you?
What's that?
What if they don't want to tell you what they make?
I've had people that's not comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I very rarely do that. I mean, I very rarely have that because I'm very subtle on the way that I do it. I have a way to get it out of people. You know what I mean? So I very rarely do that. Usually, if someone's like defensive like that, they haven't warmed up to you. There's something that's wrong in the rapport building. They were introduced wrong. They're very guarded and things of that nature. So you're gonna have to build a rapport with them. Yeah.
So, like most of the people that I work with have their own business, right? Where they have invested their own money, and then you're asking them to, like a real estate agent, have their own business, right? Or their own brokerage, if not. So then you're asking them, okay, I have another business opportunity to complement the business, like, because they're always asking me about how I might lose focus. And then the other two types of client, then the other one works more than 16 hours like a day. So how do you ask them, okay, how do I tell them that to open up so that they can allow this
Let me
opportunity
ask you
to
a
come in?
question. Let me ask you a question. Are you in real estate?
Yes,
How many hours a week do you work?
I really work, only my brain can only work 5 hours. Sorry.
Okay.
It's
So you
like
work,
more
so
like
you work
the
5
power
hours
thing.
of focus.
Yeah.
You work 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Okay. So this year, for example, what's your goal this year? What are you shooting to make this year?
I really want to make 200,000.
Okay, you want to make 200,000. Okay. Let me ask you a question. If I told you, if you were going to double your income in 2014, how would you do it? Most people would say, I would work more, right? If I'm working 5 hours, I will work 10 hours or 15 hours or 20 hours or 20, whatever it takes, right? You have more listings and all of this stuff. What about if you ask yourself a different question? You're real estate, right? So you sit down with Christine and I, you're going to sell us a house. Why do we buy a house from you? We buy a house from you because real estate agents are a dime a dozen. But why do we buy a house from you? We buy a house from you because we like you and we trust you. You follow me on that?
Yes.
Now, if we like you and trust you already, okay, so I would buy the house from you. The only thing missing in your business now is that you don't have another product that you can actually sell to the people that already like you and trust you and they do business with you.
Actually, they like me and trust me, so they went into the business. But my now, because I'm strategizing, right? They went into the business already. They signed
What
up.
business?
This WFG.
Okay.
I signed them up, but because I'm working strategically. Okay, how do I? I know how much time they invest on developing their own business. I want them to also open up here and bring in the
But
market.
there's
They're already signing, so like how do you
difference between, here's what I'm going to say.
build?
There's a difference between signing up someone and getting a code number than enrolling someone in a vision.
I enroll them on a vision. They will
Okay.
not sign up with this $100. No, because
Right.
they have their sisters, and
Got
I created a vision so that they
Okay.
would sign up. That's the only way I know how to do it too.
Right.
However, I want to say, okay, now that I've sold you the vision, how do I now say, okay, now it's time for us to produce, or it's time for us to build. Like we're supposed to build. I have an idea, but I don't know I don't know the next step on
So now
like
you're
the
talking
policy.
now you're talking about the fast owner. How do you get them off to a fast start?
Yeah.
Okay, Evelyn will go over that.
Okay.
We have a system where we have a fast start system. Where we do that. Okay, we're talking about the fast start. Okay, what else?
I just have a question in regards to time, because you decide how much time you spend on actually dealing with the person. On a visit or appointment with someone, you were speaking to them and they are definitely not going in the direction. How much time do you spend before you just walk away from it?
Not a long time, just because in the sense that I'm looking for people that are looking for me, and I want to help those that want to be helped. Okay, so I look for motivated people that want to change their lives. I don't look for unmotivated people that I need to motivate. Does that make sense? So I ask questions, right? Just like when you saw me close the other day, right? I asked the gentleman, the guy that became a client. I said, from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how motivated are you to become financially independent and debt free? He said 10. Right? Well, if you're motivated, let's get started right now. Right? So I might ask, if I'm fast starting you, and I ask, what's your name again?
Olivia.
Olivia. So I asked Olivia, I said, Olivia, let me ask you a question. Do you want strong leadership or do you want weak leadership? Let me explain what they both mean. Weak leadership leaves nothing to chance. Weak leadership leaves everything to chance. Okay? Strong leadership leaves nothing to chance. That means that there's a difference between being coachable and coachability at the speed of instruction. Coachability at the speed of instruction, you can be coachable, but you kind of do things when you feel like doing it. You do it at your own pace. You ever seen somebody, they've been around 5, 6 months, they go, oh my God, why didn't someone tell me that when I first got started? Well, somebody did tell you when you first got started. You just weren't coachable. You follow me? So there's some people, you'll see one person that starts out the same time, and then boom, they shoot up. Right? And then you'll see someone that's been around 2, 3, 4 years, haven't done anything. One's coachable and one's not. Then there's coachability at the speed of instruction. Coachability at the speed of instruction, those are the people that move the fastest. Why? Because they have blind trust. You know what blind trust is? I tell you, hey, go outside. The sun is out. And you actually go outside and you go, hey, the sun's out. They go, no, it's dark. No, the sun's out. Charlie told me the sun's out. That's blind trust. When you have blind trust, you don't seek to understand before you take action. You just take action. You follow me? So the people that are coachable at the speed of instruction, they move fast, because by the time I have to explain to you how to do it, it's short. It prolongs the building process, the duplication process. You follow me? That's why some people go, well, I don't want to do anything till I get licensed, but because when I get licensed, I don't make any money, blah, 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 blah. They shoot themselves in the foot. Then they get licensed, they don't know what to do. Because they don't understand that this is a referral-based business. It never stops. They're just thinking, because they're thinking so small, they're just thinking about the one little sale that they're going to miss. So that's why, hold on, just hold. By the way, the universe doesn't respond to that. So, give you an example. Olivia's married. She has 3 kids. Right? Write this down. The stuff that I tell you is so simple. That's why it's powerful, because it's simple. Very simple. And it's common sense. Write this down. Great givers are great getters. Great givers are great getters. Babe, how come you're not taking notes? Be big time in my meeting. Right? Great givers are great getters. Right? What do I mean by that? Olivia's married. She has a couple of kids. Right? Me, I'm licensed. She's my sister. I seen what it could do, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit down with her yet. Because I want to wait till I get my license. When I get my license, then I'm going to go sit down with her. Because then I can make money. What am I focused on? Focus on me. Focus on me. God forbid something happens to her husband. Well, I'm waiting because I'm thinking about me. Something happened to her husband. Her husband has no life insurance. Now she has 2 kids. She has no life insurance. And I could have helped her, but the problem is I wasn't thinking about her. I was thinking about me. The same process that it takes when you make those choices is what keeps you small. The problem is you think too small. Listen, you guys, listen to this very carefully. Dan Charlier, I did 120 field training appointments without a license because I understood that concept. And all the people that got licensed before me, I was like, oh, Charlie, you don't have a license. I made more money than all of them freaking combined because I understood that process. The more you give, the more you get. It's a universal law. It's a higher law. That's why when you think lower, what you get? And guess what? Be careful what you plant in your business because it will harvest. Your team is going to do exactly what they see you do, for better or for worse. That's why in the exchange principles, they're called higher laws. You follow me? You follow me on that? So if you get into business, of just helping people, right? If just you're helping people, especially our type of business, you do a great job for families. The referrals never stop. They never stop. You don't run out of a warm market. How do you run out of a warm market? The guy has 300 people in his warm market. And how many people those people know? It just doesn't stop. It never stops if you follow the right principles. I don't know how I got on that soapbox. But anyway. Right? So I ask questions, Olivia. Right? So you tell me you want strong leadership. Right?
Yes.
You want strong leadership. Now, if you tell me you want strong leadership, right? I didn't tell you, you told me. Now I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Now, you can't put conditions on it. You can't go, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I'm going to give me 100% of what you got, I'll give you back 150. You give me 90, I give you nothing. You follow me on that? So you set the stage right from the beginning. You follow me? You want to run? We're going to run all day long. I'm going to help you build your company. We can make money. We can make excuses, but we can't do both. Where there's a will, there's a way. You know why these types of meetings are very, very hard for me to do? I was telling my wife while we were driving, I was like, oh man, I got to teach them one-on-one today. I was like, oh man, this is so low energy for me. You know why? This is skill stuff. This is easy stuff. If you had to choose between skill and will, what would you choose? Why?
Lying.
Huh?
Lying.
What's that?
Lying.
Let's say 2 buildings. This is one building here. And there's another building here. All right? There's another building here. And I put a plank of wood between one building to another building. right? Underneath it, I got a net underneath it. And I say, look, you walk across from this side to that side, right? And I'll give you $10,000. Would you walk it? Would you walk it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? What's the worst case scenario? Right? Okay, so now I take the net off. The building, 200 stories high.
More money.
I put 10,000 on the other side. Would you walk it? Would you walk it? No net. 200 stories, you're going to go right through that net. Would you walk it? You have the skill to walk it, but would you walk it? It's not worth the risk, right? Okay. Let me switch it up real quick. 2 minutes, and I'm almost done. Let me switch it up. How many of you have kids? Raise your hand if you have kids. Now, the building is still 200 stories. Pay attention. The building is still 200 stories. The building you walk into is on fire. And one of your kids is in the other building. And then you got to walk it to go get your kid. Would you walk it? You wouldn't even think about it. Why? You follow me on that? So listen up. My point that I'm making to you is this. It's always been proven the person that has the biggest will and desire. Most of your very successful people have this burning desire inside to do something with. You follow me? You talk to any one of them one-on-one, and you find out their why. Their why is tremendous, which is why they take massive action. Their why is bigger than their fears. Cool? Okay, so tonight, you got a chance to see the one-on-one. What's my challenge to you? Go do 3. Very simple. Credibility, Al Crusade, and show them comp real quick. And ask those 3 questions. Go recruit 3 people. Don't try to go home and master it and study for 2 weeks and all that stuff. Call, make an appointment, and sit down with someone at Starbucks and then go through. Okay? One of the things that I'm going to do, what time is it? 9. Okay, I got to end on time. One of the things that I'm going to do, I'm going to come out with a one-on-one brochure that's branded for the Synergy team. Right, a one-on-one brochure where everybody has this one brochure, and I'm going to do a kitchen table brochure just for the kitchen table presentation, so everybody uniformly have one presentation. Make sense? And also the information that I use, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. But Dean, I called Dean at the last minute. He took the time out and put this information together so you guys can hear it tonight. So give him a round of applause. All right, thank you guys. Have a great one. And how do you say thank you to Christine and I? Go win.
Go win.
Go recruit someone. Send me a text. Say, hey, Dan, you know what? I sat down with someone. I did that presentation. I recruited them. I'm fired up. Make sense? All right. Thank you.
See you guys back.